Did you know that your own thoughts can stress you out? It's true. We think thousands of thoughts every day, somewhere between 50 and 70,000 thoughts every single day. And unfortunately, many people make the assumption that if you thought it, it must be true. But that's not the case. Just because you had a thought doesn't make it true. Think about how many times you've had a thought or a number of thoughts that ended up upsetting you. Have you ever heard the expression creating monsters in your mind? Maybe you started to think about something and before you know it, it kind of snowballed in your mind. The thoughts just kept adding and the situation kept getting worse in your own mind. In the meantime, it had nothing to do with reality. It was just related to your thoughts. Maybe you thought of something and before you know it, you're kind of sitting there and stewing over that thing and you don't even know how much time has passed, how much time you've lost to ruminating over things. So thoughts are really powerful because one, oftentimes people assume that they're correct. People just go under that assumption that if I thought it, it must be true, it must be real, but it's not. Think about storytelling. We listen to stories, we tell each other stories. This is quite popular throughout our lifetime. Children enjoy stories, sometimes scary stories, sometimes magical stories. But stories, which are related to thoughts, right? It's just a series of thoughts that are verbalized. They're not true. They're just stories. So why is it that somewhere along the line, when we became adults, we started thinking or assuming that just because you thought it, then it must be real, then it must be true? But that's not the case. What's even worse is that we are oftentimes very much unaware of our thoughts and our thought patterns. Chances are that you get through the day and while you had tens of thousands of thoughts during that one day, you didn't give any consideration to your thoughts, or very little at best. You didn't give any consideration to the quality of those thoughts. You didn't give any consideration to the truthfulness of those thoughts. So what does that mean? What it means is that thoughts, which are very powerful, are dictating your moods, your feelings, especially if one, you're not paying attention to them, and two, you're assuming that just because you thought it, then it must be true. So I really want you to start paying attention to your thoughts and giving them more consideration. Think about what is your propensity, what is your bend in terms of thoughts? Do you tend to be more on the negative side or do you tend to be more positive? And of course, there are those of you who will say, well, I'm a realist, but that's often a code name for pessimist. That's just a little tidbit for everybody out there. But whatever your propensity is, it's important that you're aware of that. If you tend to be, glass half empty type of person, then your thoughts and the resulting emotions will be of one nature. And if you tend to be more of a positive person, looking for the opportunities or the good things about an event or an exchange or a person, then your experiences will be different than that of this glass half empty person. And we absolutely can change our way of thinking. It requires time and effort as everything else, but the first step is to be aware of it. So think about your own thoughts. And it's so nice being a human. You can actually do that. We can actually stop and think about our thoughts. So think about your thoughts, think about your thought patterns. are they adding to the stress in your life? Are they making you more stressed out? Are they making you more anxious? Are you creating monsters in your head? Are you getting stuck in rumination where nothing good comes out of it? You're just stuck in this cycle of negative thinking that maybe snowballs and you can't seem to get out of it. So, what are your thought patterns like? And remember, your thoughts not only affect your mood and your emotions and your experience throughout the day, they also affect your beliefs. If you think something long enough, frequently enough, it will become part of your belief system, and that will happen quicker than you think. And there are so many people that don't even think about that. That's a real danger. You know, one of the things with things like marketing or propaganda is just part of simple psychology that the masses don't pay attention to. But if you're exposed to a statement or an idea for long enough and frequently enough, it's just a matter of time before you start accepting it as a truth. And that's a very dangerous thing, potentially, especially if that idea or statement is not a very good one, is not one that serves you or other people. So think of your own thoughts in the same way. If you're having the same thoughts over and over again, you become so attached to them in some sense where you accept them as a truth and you accept them as part of your belief system. So that can be very dangerous, especially if the thoughts do not serve you. And look, I'm not proposing that you become this fake positive person where you're walking around spewing positivity and you don't really mean it, and on the inside you're cringing and can't wait to stop talking. That's silly. That doesn't help anybody. But the reality is this: what's wrong is always available. So you can focus on what's wrong at any point in time. It's always available. But you know what? So is what's right. So it's really your decision to shift your focus from what's wrong to what's right. Is it going to be applicable 100% in every situation? No. But it's going to be applicable a lot more than you may think so initially. So whenever you look at a situation, a person, an event, something that happened, try to look for something positive about it. Don't just focus on all the negative. And if you can't quite get to the looking at the positive things about it, start with something neutral. Start with what are some neutral things that you can notice about the person or situation or event or whatever the case may be. And the more you practice this, the more it will become your natural way of looking at things, your natural way of thinking about things. And that could make a world of difference when it comes to stress. Because when you're focusing on negative things and you're thinking negative thoughts and you're allowing those thoughts to affect your feelings and emotions and your beliefs, then you're losing the battle here, friend. You are being victimized by your own thoughts that are just spreading and affecting so many different things. Remember what I said. What is wrong is always available, but so is what is right. So why not focus on those things that are positive, those things that are right, those things that can free you from the stress in your life, that can help you feel better. You know, one exercise that you can start doing, aside from catching yourself and really paying attention to your thoughts and aiming to notice things that are positive or neutral instead of things that are negative. One thing that you can do is at the end of the day or at the end of your work day, whatever you choose to do, you can sit down and think about, and writing this down is a good exercise or talking about it with a friend, someone who's going to share in the exercise. Talk about or write about what was right about today. What went right? What did you enjoy? How did you succeed? What was good? Because that will get you into the practice of focusing your mind on the positive and really directing your own thoughts in that direction, right? Be the director of your own thoughts rather than the slave of your thoughts as the master of you. So if you take a few minutes and either write out the things that were right about today, that were good about today, that went right, that you enjoyed, or you can talk to someone, but make sure that that person is on the same page. You don't need to engage with somebody who's going to try to undo all your efforts by being the negative person or undermine your efforts by dismissing your efforts. So make sure that you're connecting with the right person for this. So find a partner who shares in that goal of focusing on what was good, what was right, what was enjoyable, what are you thankful for, and what would you like more of in the upcoming days. So that's a really simple exercise. So you have some things as takeaways from this video here is pay attention to your thoughts. Make sure that they are not running you. Don't assume that because you thought it, it must be true. Pay attention to your thought patterns, pay attention to your beliefs as they are affected by thoughts and thought patterns, and make a conscious effort to look for the positive and the neutral if the positive isn't obvious or if it's difficult at first. And then make sure that you're shifting your focus to the positive whenever possible. It's not going to be possible 100% of the time, all the time, but it will be possible more often than you imagine. And then every day, make an effort to kind of close out the day or maybe the work day by actively focusing on what was good, what was right, what went the way you wanted it to go, what you enjoyed, what you want more of, and either write it out. Don't just think about it because that's not engaging enough. I mean, it's a start, but you really want to either write it out or talk about it with the right person who shares your goal. So make sure you're paying attention to your thoughts. Otherwise, they're going to be in charge of you, and you never know where that's going to get you. If you would like to learn more about a comprehensive approach to stress management, please click on the link below.